Like this first one, which is simply work on yourself first. And I'm going to say 3 things here, and the first one's probably not going to be very popular, but please don't boo, let me explain. The first part of taking care of yourself, working on yourself first, is to take care of your appearance. Because, I mean, okay, you can just live in La La Land and say, it doesn't matter if I gain 500 pounds and wear sweatpants with holes in them and never brush my hair, he should love me anyway, why doesn't he want you? But come on, I mean, we do need to take care of appearance. So work on yourself, take care, put on some makeup or brush your hair or take a shower once a week, that would be helpful. Little things. So that's part of working on yourself. But also, the second part is seeking a deeper relationship with Christ. Right? Now you're really working on some really deep stuff, that relationship with Christ. And I'm going to say a third piece of this business of working on yourself first is hanging out with other women who are also seeking the Lord. Right. I think that combination, those 3 things where you're really taking care of your appearance, you're really seeking the Lord, and you're hanging out with other women who are also seeking the Lord, puts you in a really good place. Because what it starts to do is it starts to develop confidence and security in who you are. Other women are speaking into your life because you're in fellowship with other women. They're speaking into your life. They're calling out some of your character qualities and your spiritual gifts, and they're affirming who you are, that you're a beautiful woman. And you're starting to grow in confidence. You're gaining identity as you're seeking the Lord. He's speaking to you through His Word about who you are in Christ, right? And you become more confident. 2 of the verses that I just chose to focus on in terms of that helped me to become more confident. Zephaniah 3:17, the Lord your God is with you. He is mighty to save. He will take great delight in you. In His love He will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing. Amen. And then Psalm 139, my frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. That God created you on purpose. He has it all figured out why He gave you these talents, these gifts, this personality, chose for you to live in Bellingham, Washington, or Whatcom County, wherever you live. I mean, He chose all this. He had it planned for you. And that starts to make me feel more secure. And here's something I've learned, is that as you become more secure and confident, you become much more attractive to men. A man will be just attracted to you and in hot pursuit of the confident woman. Okay, second dating principle. Pray for God to bless you by providing a godly husband for you, and then be patient as you leave the timing in God's hands, right? Patience. But Proverbs 15:29 says, the Lord is far from the wicked, but He hears the prayer of the righteous. I don't think there's anything wrong with praying. If the desire of your heart is for a husband, pray. Now, the timing is all up to the Lord, right? And we want it right now. We are a fast food society. I don't even want to get out of my car. I have the drive-up window. I just want it right now. And God's timing is often like, well, wait a minute. This guy hasn't even moved over to Whatcom County yet. He's still in New York. Give me a minute to get this all worked out, right? And we're like, well, I've given up. I'm just going to have to grab this guy. He looks like a loser, but he's available. So I'm just going to take him. And God's like, wait a minute. I was arranging something over here. You prayed, didn't you? Can you just wait a minute? Right? Okay. Third step, or Bible-based dating principle, stop fixating on securing a husband and submit yourself entirely to God instead. Stop fixating on securing a husband. I just have a feeling the more you fixate on that and make that your quest in life, the less likely you will find the guy. It's like, just take a step back and stop fixating on that and set your heart on the Lord. And then there's this beautiful verse, Psalm 37:4, you've probably read it many times. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. But the first part is, delight yourself in the Lord, right? First that, then with patience, God will give you the desires of your heart. When that's going to happen, I don't know. It could be next month. It could be 5 years from now. But our job is to delight ourselves in the Lord and leave the timing up to Him. Number 4, to increase your chances of bumping into the right man, get involved in activities, hobbies, recreation where men are present, right? God is not going to drop a man down your chimney. Okay. Number 5. These are not in any real particular order, by the way. Don't date a man who is not serious about honoring God. Don't date a man who is not serious about honoring God. And that's 2 Corinthians 6:14. Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. And this is where you have to actually look below the surface. Because many people will say, I'm a Christian. What does that even mean anymore? I mean, seriously. It could mean that if they were looking at a form, an application for something, and it said, religious affiliation, they checkbox Christian, but that's about as far as it goes, right? So you have to ask some questions. Try to engage them in a conversation about, hey, what's your favorite Bible verse? If they have this glazed over look, that would be a tip. I'm not saying that they have to have it all memorized, but if they just don't even have any clue about what the New Testament is, or there's a New Testament, what is that? I mean, these would be tips that they aren't in their Bible. Again, this just does not mean like, oh, throw them out, they're worthless, but just be kind of gauging, like, are they seeking the Lord? Do they ever go to church? Are they only going to church since they met you and found out that you go to church? I mean, just things like that. Number 6, let the man do the pursuing.
Yeah.
Most men run from clingy, pushy women.
Yeah.
Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. Did you notice it says, he who finds a wife? Like, you don't have to find yourself for him. It's like, let him do the pursuing. In fact, be a little hard to get. Like, you meet him, at some, activity or whatever, at the gym or something, and he says, can I get your phone number? And you give him your phone number, and then the first time he calls, don't just immediately agree to go out on a date. Say, I'm gonna do some bird watching out in the backyard tonight. I'm busy tonight, and tomorrow I have plans to, watch my goldfish, just a little bit, possibly the next night. Just be a little hard to get so that he has to pursue. Men love to pursue. Let him pursue you instead of you being the one that's pursuing him. This is not. Number 7. Insist on being friends and hanging out together for at least 1 month before progressing to even holding hands, in my opinion. Okay, I know that sounds so old-fashioned, but get to know his character before you start bonding and with physical affection. Because the minute you start bonding, even holding hands, kissing, all that, and I know this might sound so old-fashioned, but the reason I'm saying it is because you start to bond and you start to be so invested in the relationship that even when you start to see red flags of character issues, you're already down the road in your mind and your heart. You're already kind of connected and intertwined with this physical affection. So just take a month. What is a month out of your life to just say, I'm just gonna check this person out. What is their character when we're driving down the freeway and they get cut off? What happens at that moment? Just assessing who they are. During all this time, observe his character, especially when he's facing the challenge. Does he show the fruit of the Spirit? What are the fruit of the Spirit? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. Does he show any of those things? Maybe, there's not going to be a perfect man, but does he at least show some of these things? Okay, number 8 is huge. Watch out for some big red flags that are a warning that you could be in for some major challenges if you marry this man. Proverbs 14:16. One who is wise is cautious and turns away from evil, but a fool is reckless and careless. So don't be that fool who just charges in, ignoring the red flags. I'm not going to let the red flags get in the way of my pursuit of my dream to get married. So I want to just go over a couple of really common red flags that are kind of a big deal. And these are in no particular order either. But is he mooching off his parents instead of actually working hard? There are a lot of guys, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe it's just the way our society is just kind of enabling you to stay young and, at your parents' house forever or something, I don't know. But does he show signs of being responsible and working hard? Or is he kind of just still living on, his parents' house at the age of 29 and not really working full time because he can't find the right job or, all those kinds of things? That would be a red flag. Does he use disrespectful or even vulgar language toward you when he's upset with you? Huge red flag. Because let me tell you, if he's doing that when he's dating you, how do you think this is going to work when he's married to you? and he's already got you secured. Maybe that you sense that he may be addicted to alcohol or drugs or pornography, and that he's not really working to get free of those things. That would be a huge red flag. Honestly, in this day and age, I'd like to say, like, don't even date a man who is actively looking at pornography, but you might be hard-pressed to find one. They're just hiding it really well, most of them. But here's the difference. Is he actively working to get free of this stuff? Man, I mean, that's pretty cool. If whether it's alcohol, drugs, pornography, gambling, whatever it might be, if he's at least actively looking to break free and saying, I am working on this. I don't want to live this way. That's awesome. See how that's going. But if he's saying, I don't have a problem, there's no problem. That's a big red flag, right? Do you catch him lying to you? Huge red flag. Is he pressuring you to be sexually active with him? In any way sexually active with him? That's a huge red flag too, especially if he says he's a Christian. I could go on with red flags, but are we getting the drift here?
Oh, yeah.
And then number 9, this is also so huge. Listen to the godly people in your life. Often you will be too infatuated to think clearly. And then number 10, insist on sexual purity while dating. Insist on sexual purity while dating. Now, why is this important? Well, first of all, God says it's a sin to have sex outside of marriage, so that should be a really good reason. Hebrews 13:4, let marriage be held in honor among all, and let the marriage bed be undefiled, for God will judge the sexually immoral and adulterous. And in 1 Corinthians 6:18, flee sexual immorality. Every sin that a man does is outside his body, but he who commits sexual immorality sins against his own body. So, this is not okay with God. This is not his plan for you to have sex outside of marriage. That should be good enough just right there, but let's give some other reasons. Sex makes you blind to your boyfriend's faults. Because when you have sex, it releases that bonding cuddle hormone, that oxytocin, and it does bond you together. And that's why, after I had sex with my boyfriend, which I should not have done, of course, but he pressured me and was like, I fell for the, if you love me, you will. Okay. Anyway, but then you become bonded. And then you're really entwined and glued together. And so you stay with a guy that you should not be staying with because you have that oxytocin bond together. Now in marriage, that is awesome to have that bond. You need that bond because you're going to hit these storms and valleys in your marriage, and that's part of that bond that holds you together. But when you're dating, why have that bonding hormone introduced when maybe you're with the wrong guy, right? You want to be able to see clearly. Also, if you give sex to your boyfriend, why should he make a commitment to you? Right? Like, the expression, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free?
That's
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, if you want to just live together forever and him make no commitment to you whatsoever, okay, but I don't think that's probably what you want to do. And then also, you can look forward to God's blessing when you honor him. I'm not going to read the whole passage right now, but if you want to just write down maybe I have it on your handout.
Yeah,
Deuteronomy 28. It's just like a whole section of all the blessings that come when you honor and obey the Lord. And I will tell you, when I was dating Raul, even though we were older, when you're with the right person, you still are, interested in sex. And so I remember, we were battling temptation like crazy, but we would go back to this Deuteronomy 28. We do not want to miss the blessings that come from staying pure in our relationship. And so we just kind of put a stake in that and said, you know what? We do not want to lose the amazing blessings God has in store for us by having sex outside of marriage. And so that was kind of like our mantra.